So yeah, the exchange for you is, so it's your time, you come into class, you're attending, you're doing assignments, you may be limiting your career options for a period of time because you're actually bought into the process. And in exchange, you're provided with the education and materials, you're provided with the opportunity, you're provided with support, and you're provided with an accredited qualification from a good university, actually. So it's very well rated, and the potential to get chartered management status as well. So you're sacrificing something, and then there's a reward as well. And this idea is that we do something, we get something back. If we're thinking about the casual dining group, what would they be selling? If we sort of think about actually what people buying from them, if we think about this exchange process.
A service.
Okay.
Product.
Yeah, so it's a combination, isn't it? Is it an experience as well, do you think? Because if we're eating out, it tends to be, yeah. What are people giving up in exchange?
Well, they're giving them money for the service and the products and the experience.
Yeah, and depending where it is, they could be travelling quite a way for it. They could be there could be some difficulties in parking. They could be they're sacrificing the next best opportunity. So it could be somewhere else that they were thinking of trying. You know, it might be that they don't get the chance. You know, if they've got a family, they don't get the chance to go out for something to eat very often. So actually, you know, it's quite a big choice that they've decided to, you know, there might be more sacrifice for more customers than there are for others, if that makes sense. So that's why this exchange, it's worth fully appreciating what people are giving up to, and actually in this case with the casual dining, that the sort of the risk of actually if they're going out after they haven't eaten out for a long time, you know, the fear associated with, you know, queuing, you know, how does it work now in restaurants, you know, not knowing the rules, if that makes sense, in terms of like, am I allowed up to the toilet, do I still need to wear a face mask, that sort of thing. There's a sort of uncertainty with it. Does that make sense? So try and build in when you're looking at the casual dining group. So part of that will involve looking at what brands they've got. So the exchange might be quite different for different brands, because if it's a fast food sort of outlet type thing, it's going to be a different exchange to if it's a fine dining experience. Another thing to consider, so I appreciate there's lots of different concepts here, and actually what I want you to do is pick the best ones for your assignments and really enjoy them as well. When we're thinking about different relationships, what we think about is there's an engagement process, a loyalty process. So if we've got a limited amount of marketing money, who would you spend it on if we look at those different levels of the pyramid, and why? So we've only got a small amount, like Aston Martin, we haven't got a huge amount of money to be spending on our marketing, and we can only target one group. Which group are you going to target and why?
To try and target the non-users, because obviously you've already got people that are in there, so you got your frequents and your loyals and your brand fanatics. You don't have to sort of invest in that as such.
Okay.
It's trying to turn people around to try and eat in the business.
Okay, so we're trying to get them in the early days in particular, because most people are going to be non-users, aren't they?
Yeah.
So we're going to have to do that initially. Okay, what
You could
about?
also target your loyal users, because then they can then use word of mouth to then help to market.
I'd say frequent or loyal to like try and increase awareness.
Yeah, have you ever done the adoption curve where you've got this idea of like early adopters? You've got your there's a group right at the beginning that there's hardly anybody in, and then you've got early adopters, late adopters, and you've got this sort of idea of a cycle. Do you know what I'm on about? Have you done it in sort of innovation or anything when you've done sort of the different stages of innovation and adoption? I think this is quite similar to that in the sense of the non-users or buyers, we're going to have to put our money in if we haven't started anywhere else. But actually, the infrequent ones and the non-users, there could be a reason why they're not using it, and it could be they're not the right people for the business. But actually, what we want to do is get frequent to buy more from us. We want loyal to turn into brand fanatics, because I tell you what, once we've got brand fanatics, we won't have to do much marketing, in the sense that they'll do it for us, and they don't necessarily need, they won't need paying, they just need treating well. So if I was starting out, I'd definitely go non-users. If I've got a level of quite heavy awareness, I'd, like you, I think we've said, either go frequent or loyal and try and get them to the next level up. Because for all the money you spend on advertising and marketing, the most effective way of reaching other people is through existing customers, is through them saying it's good, and through them saying it because they want to say it, not because they're being forced to say it. So that's a sort of, and actually with somewhere like the casual dining group, it should be like a snowball effect. You know, we should get people having fantastic experience, huge reviews, then just sort of getting restaurants that just booked up. That's what we want to be at.
It's like, do you know, when you see those people in the supermarket, like RAC people and stuff, trying to get you to sign up. I don't think I've ever seen anyone sign up.
No, you just, I think when you feel like you're forcing something, it doesn't seem to happen, does it? When it's, it does feel like a snowball effect sometimes, doesn't it? Once people start to do stuff, then it all follows, and that's why it's the same with this idea here, that once you get people to be sort of frequent users, you just get more and more, because people are seeing people carrying the bags or seeing the products in people's, you know, whatever. It just starts that you become a walking advert and you don't realise it. But you're right, you know, this thing of trying to get people from not doing it to doing it, hard work. When I first set up a business, my business mentor said, what you need to do is create a secret, create a rumour that you're the best in the business, and you have to create it yourself. And if you do that, this idea that over time that will spread, so you don't need to market as hard, because people hear that you're really good, but don't realise you've actually the one that said you're really good. So the first step, so we've just looked at step one, understanding the marketplace and customer need. And I've just given you a few things here to consider about that. So looking at the sort of value and the exchange that we've got, and the levels of loyalty. So the next bit that we're looking at is making sure that we're delivering the customer value in the way that we should be. So we need to think here about which customers are the ones that are worth spending the money on, where we make the most money, and how do we do what they want us to do. So we need to consider almost market segmentation. Is the idea that a market, it sounds really stupid, is like a chocolate orange. So you've got all these different segments, and quite literally you decide, right, who's the easiest one to go for, and it might be previous customers, it might be ones that we can access, the people with an income over such and such amount of money that live in a city, because we can target those by doing direct mailing. But we need to work out which ones to go for first, because no organisation has got the money to go for all of them. So there's this idea that we're sort of grouping them together in meaningful ways. So it could, as I say, it could be geography, income, gender, profession. There's so many different options we've got there. And then we build these profiles up about the right ones that we think are going to help us grow our business. And because we make these profiles, we can then work out, well, if we're going for customers with, say, I'm going to keep coming back to the casual dining group, because then we can try and come up with some examples for it as we go along. So actually what we want is customers with some disposable income. So we might give them a certain like profile in terms of their money that they have left over every month. So they've got some of it which they can spend on eating out. We want ones that eat out at least, say, once a week, because then we can create regular customers, and we can create like loyalty cards there, couldn't we, and bonus schemes and things, incentives for them. We might want ones that, if we're thinking about times where our restaurant's quite quiet, we might do that, but we might do ones with young families. So we have sort of special packages that they can get special sort of family deals between 5 and 7, because we know our restaurants are going to be quite quiet then, but they need to be open, so we can start getting them quite busy. So we start, if we've got a good idea as to the groups, we can create different groups that we're going for, our different targets, and then we can design what matters for them. So we know that if it's between 5 and 7, we've got the family menus available, we've got more high chairs available, we've got the colouring in pens or whatever it is. And then we know from 7 o'clock onwards, we've got the evening menu. We've got more, I don't know, the sort of wine's a bigger seller. We know, that the average spend is going to be higher. We know that they're going to spend longer in the restaurant because the ones with the children are going to try and get out as soon as possible because they, feel embarrassed because the children are sort of kicking off or whatever it is. So it's just about understanding what these different targets are going to want from us. And we need to create a value proposition that works for all our groups, actually. Do you know anything about the target customer for Aston Martin? Is there a profile of them, or are there a couple of different profiles?
Basically, it depends which model you're talking about, but within the product definition letters that get sent out to relevant stakeholders in the business, you get to see a customer profile.
Okay.
There's usually 3 different customer profiles. 3 examples of a customer basically and what their wants and needs are. It's just building a fake profile of an imaginary person basically.
And does it what sort of things is it? Sort of income and professional? What sort of things does it include, or is it attitudes and behaviours?
It tells you what profession they're probably in and what things they're like in life, what they take time to focus on, things they consider. I'm trying to find an old letter I can just quickly dig through and give you an example if you want.
That'd be useful. And if you can't find it now, if you could, like, I know they do that as well at JLR, and they look at international customers. So like one's for the Range Rover and one's in China, for example, and they have a different profile for each, what they're looking for from it.
Let me.
Have you got it?
Target customer. Yeah.
If you're able to take over on the screen, that'd be great to see that.
Okay. Don't take a screenshot of this though.
No. Do you want me to stop recording just for a sec?
If you could, because I need to